On the first night of summer, at the site of what has become Amarillo's iconic testament to a disintegrating yet constantly reinterpreted culture, a film crew prepares to wrap up principal photography for a story that has been painted over many times, with the broad graffiti language as popular in media as it is on the surface of Cadillac Ranch.
We're shooting Bomb City. We're about to do a scene here that takes place at the Cadillac Ranch with Brian Deneke and Jade, who plays his love interest in the film, and their little dog, Stout.
It's the most important, the most powerful, and the most impressive project I've ever been a part of.
Where I'm standing is about where everything happened. You know, there's a fight, broke out at the IHOP, and everybody came across the street. From there, it was just chaos. And next thing I know, my brother's laying on the ground bleeding, and that's about what I remember, really.
Brian Deneke died in 1997, participating in what some call a gang fight. His killer drove a Cadillac. Brian's brother, Jason, was deeply affected.
It's been pretty hard. It's messed up some stuff in my life. I've had a hard time dealing with it at times, and you know, but I think that as time goes on, it gets a little bit easier, and things are going to get better.
You know, here it is all these years later, and I sat across the kitchen table from Mike Deneke, and I could still see the pain behind his eyes all these years later. And all that commercial cinematic stuff went out the window because it became about the human connection.
I think it means, gosh, a lot of things. Be careful not to judge people by outer appearances. Get to know people, get to know the good in people.
You know, the Deneke story was one that, growing up here in Amarillo, that we were very familiar with, and it struck a chord with us, you know, personally.
It's been really fun and also very moving because it's a true story, and it's had its emotional times when we're on set sometimes.
I think it affected the way I grew up, so it was a heartfelt story, and it's interesting to be retelling it now.
The next thing that starts is post-production. Our goal is to have the first cut done by September 28th. That's the deadline for Sundance.
Deneke's death reverberated throughout a culture that decried what they believed to be intolerance in Amarillo. The man may die, but his story and spirit lives. Celebrating the Panhandle spirit, Larry Lemmons, ABC 7 News.